They did not provide the required employer identification numbers. This information, delivered in a timely fashion, is crucial in order to protect workers' legal right to organize.
Boss Watch is a segment that we do every single week where we take a look at what bosses are up to, particularly in the United States, but also nationwide. Don't have too much for you this week. The Trump administration continues to deprioritize worker protection laws and stuff like that. We do have a few press releases or a few different pieces of information from Labor Lab this week, so that'll be good. And if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll get a couple of other links to press releases and stuff like that. And also, we'll be linking to some of Jordan Barab's stories in Confined Space. Confined Space is a really cool newsletter that Jordan Barab does. He is a former OSHA official. And it's a newsletter about occupational safety and health. So highly recommend checking that out. We're going to try to get Jordan on the show here sometime in the next month or so. But we're going to get right to Union Busters, a segment of Boss Watch covering national updates, sponsored by Labor Lab. Labor Lab is an employer watchdog organization. They are committed to safeguarding the right to organize through unions, collective bargaining, and mutual aid. They do this by combing through reports that Union Busters are required to file with the Department of Labor. We've got a press release to start off with them from them this week about the North Carolina Amazon Union campaign that concluded last month, where a worker-led organizing effort was suppressed through a vicious union-busting campaign helmed by anti-union persuaders from Road Warrior Productions. This interference resulted in a loss for the Carolina Amazonians United for Solidarity and Empowerment, also known as CAUSE. Amazon paid Road Warrior Productions upwards of $366,000 for their union busting services over a period of 1 month. 1 month for over $250,000 for union busting at one location. Money that should have gone, Labor Lab points out, into the pockets of workers organizing for better wages, safer working conditions, and freedom from exploitation. Labor Lab discovered that Road Warrior Productions delayed filing mandatory disclosures of their compensation and contract until after the election, ignoring clear legal requirements. Labor Lab says this appears to be a deliberate delay, denying workers in North Carolina critical information about the financial resources being used to suppress their union, potentially impacting the election outcome. You know, these filings are mandated to be timely. There's because the whole thing about the filings is that workers have a right to know who it is that their company is paying them, who it is that their company is paying to try to convince them not to unionize, and how much their company is paying them. I think that workers have a right to know that, and that's what the law says, right? The law says you have to file these things and you have to do them in a timely manner, because if you don't do it in a timely manner, then workers will not have that information when they go to cast their vote. And that is why it is so frustrating that these anti-union, union-busting firms just blatantly violate the law because there is not enough of a penalty for it. Labor Lab continues in their press release. Road Warrior Productions has a number of concerning right-wing ties. The Heritage Foundation, the very organization responsible in large part for the drafting of Project 2025, lists Road Warrior Productions as a professional associate. Road Warrior Production Labor President Russ Brown was the former president of the Center for Independent Employees, a nonprofit legal defense foundation that provides free legal representation and aid to independent employees who are opposed to union oppression in their workplaces. The company raked in over $1 million in 2023.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
Labor Lab continues. Upon reviewing filings for this engagement at the RDU-1 facility, Labor Lab has determined that Road Warrior Productions Labor has potentially violated several federal filing requirements set out by the Department of Labor. They failed to file documentation for their engagement at Amazon within the required 30 days, and they did not provide the required employer identification numbers for themselves, their subcontractors, or their employees. This information, delivered in a timely fashion, is crucial in order to protect workers' legal right to organize. So there you go. A very frustrating dynamic that plays out in way too many union busting at way too many union busting outfits in way too many union campaigns across the country. Here's our regularly scheduled Union Busters segment. These are the last week's new filings from Union Busters. Montefiore Nyack Hospital in New York hired Crossroads Group labor relations consultants for $450 an hour. There is an open NLRB union election. Michael Penn is the president and partner of Crossroads Group labor relations consultants. Penn was a former Teamsters union organizer. In 2010, the Crossroads Group was found to have committed unfair labor practices during an election campaign. According to the board decision, Penn threatened to sue an employee for defamation based on his comments in a union newsletter article. In another campaign at the National Benefits Center, Penn told workers that you're going to sign your life away if you sign a union card. The union would tell you to go out on strike and the place could close down, a violation of the law. In 2008, on a campaign at Jensen Enterprises, Penn told employees they would lose their benefits if they voted for a union. In a different campaign, Penn told employees that they would see a loss of their regularly scheduled annual wage increases if they selected the union as their collective bargaining representative. Michael Penn is also the chair of the Democratic Foundation of Orange County. Penn has consistently donated to the foundation annually between $1,000 and $3,000 and has also donated to Barack Obama and John Edwards. So at least he's a liberal union buster, like friend of the show, Joe Brock. Amazon, also a former Teamster like Joe Brock. Amazon DMH9 in Massachusetts hired Edward Hinkle via Road Warrior Productions for $2,500 a day. Sunshine Disposal in Washington hired labor advisors. They did not provide their compensation. The LCP Group in New York hired Solutions for Labor Relations Consultants. Hired Solutions Labor Relations Consultants without disclosing their compensation. Amazon DDE9 in Colorado hired Road Warrior Productions for $2,000 a day. And Perexel in North Carolina hired labor advisors. Labor advisors did not provide their compensation, and the election petition at this Amazon facility was withdrawn. Workers were originally seeking to unionize with the Teamsters, Local 773. ONNI in Illinois hired ICWE, a anti-union consulting group, but workers for $400 a day, but workers still won the union election 3-1. The Brickton Group and Renaissance Chicago in Illinois hired LRI consulting services for $425 an hour. Workers withdrew their union election petition. PetSmart in Michigan hired LRI consulting services for $425 an hour. How many PetSmart employees could you hire for $425 an hour? Just insane. The election petition is still open there. Some filings were amended last week, including at EVGV in Georgia. They added their compensation rate of $250 an hour for union busting at Amazon in Georgia. C. Hunt Management Consulting added their compensation rate of $400 an hour for union busting at Unity Point Health in Iowa. That is it for Boss Watch this week.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.